It's really hard to know who to trust with these Donovan Mitchell trade rumors. People forget, but right after Utah traded Rudy Gobert, they said Donovan Mitchell was not on the market. Oh, they planned to build around him. Then 11 days later, Woj reports the Jazz are open to discussions. Oh, funny how quickly things change. The first team that called was the New York Knicks, which makes sense because Donovan is from there. They have a ton of picks to trade, but nothing happened. The Gobert trade made things tough. How is Utah going to get a better package for Donovan Mitchell than they got for Gobert? Dude got 5 first-round picks and role players, and he's overpaid. Can the Jazz ask for 6 firsts and RJ Barrett? Of course not. So the media lies started coming. Shaq may think Donovan Mitchell sucks, but he's just 25 years old, coming off his best season. He averaged about 26 points, over 4 boards, 5 assists with career high efficiency. He has 4 years, $135 million left on his deal. Reports say many teams are interested. The Cavaliers, the Heat, the Wizards, the Raptors, the Hawks, the Lakers, the Nets, and the Kings. A huge list that makes no sense. The Lakers? They only have 2 draft picks to trade and no realistic players. So it makes you wonder, how much of this is even true? But first, my information has been safe on the dark web recently. I haven't had a leak since May 25th. Yes! And I know this because of today's sponsor, Aura. And you have heard me talk about Aura before. They are the app I use to protect my data from hackers and scammers and spammers. So what are you doing to protect yourself? If the answer is nothing, I highly recommend you try Aura. Here's how it works. Aura continuously monitors the dark web looking for your emails, your passwords, your social security numbers, and they send alerts to you fast to your phone or your email whenever they find anything. Aura also gives you near real-time alerts on suspicious credit inquiries, like if somebody is opening a loan or a credit card in your name. They automatically send requests on your behalf to data brokers to remove your information, helping reduce the amount of spam and robocalls you get. Plus, their VPN allows you to stay anonymous online by keeping your browser history and personal info safe and encrypted, and their antivirus software will block malware and viruses before they infect your devices. Identity theft is so common. There's a new victim every 14 seconds, and it costs the average victim over $1,000. Since I've been talking to you, 3 people have had their identity stolen. So protect your family and yourself from identity theft. Go to aura.com/amhoops. Also, that is linked below in the description. If you sign up right now, Aura will give you a 2-week free trial with my link so you can see for yourself how many times Aura finds you or your family members' info on the dark web. And if you sign up, let me know in the comments below if your personal info has been compromised. You will not regret checking. Thanks again to Aura. After Shams reported teams are interested, an Arizona reporter said the Hawks, Heat, and Kings are not interested, contrary to reports. So somebody is lying. Shams was the one who said those teams were interested, but he hasn't mentioned them since. I think the Jazz are making up reports to try to fleece the Knicks. New York knows how much they need to trade Donovan Mitchell because Utah is in a full-on rebuild. If dealing Gobert wasn't enough, they traded Royce O'Neal for a first. If the Knicks are the only team who is actually bidding for Spida, they're not going to pay full price. So the Jazz are making it seem like there's a lot of interest. Other teams that Arizona reporter said are calling: the Cavaliers, the Wizards, the Hornets, and the Nets. I can't see the Cavs trading picks and players to get Donovan Mitchell. He's not a big upgrade over Darius Garland. The only way it makes sense is a Colin Sexton sign and trade. Spida would play shooting guard next to Darius Garland, but another player would have to be involved. So the Cavs get Donovan Mitchell and Bojan Bogdanovic. The Jazz get Colin Sexton, Karis LeVert, Cedi Osman, 3 first-round picks, and 2 pick swaps. Actually a legit deal for the Cavs. But I don't think Utah does it because they want a potential all-star for Donovan Mitchell. Colin Sexton is not good enough, and they'll need to pay him. Also, the Cavs' first-round picks would be mid to late in the first round with how good and young their roster is. Other interesting teams are the Wizards and the Hornets. DC already has Bradley Beal, and Spida plays the same position, and they don't have young all-star level talent. The Hornets' list of assets is 3 first-round picks, including a lottery protected from Denver, which is awful. Young players PJ Washington, James Bouknight, Kai Jones, and TJ Thor, and veterans Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, and Kelly Oubre Jr. Do you see anything interesting there? No. So Utah's trying to scare the Knicks into an actual good offer. Like, oh, you better trade for Donovan Mitchell. You're gonna lose him. There's a lot of interest. Yeah, that's not working. They may be the Knicks, but this current front office is not stupid. Their plan all along has been to trade for a star. Their new front office guy, Leon Rose, used to run a competitor to Clutch Sports called CAA. Here's a list of players who are represented by them. Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein already signed to the Knicks. We know the Zion Williamson old Knicks rumors. People always thought that target would be Karl Anthony Towns or Devin Booker, but then their teams improved. So Donovan Mitchell is now the obvious choice, and he's available. So the idea behind getting Spida now wouldn't be to win, it would be to get good enough to attract a superstar. Superstars have always been interested in the Knicks, but turns out they're dysfunctional. But maybe Mitchell, Brunson, and RJ Barrett, I guess, could invite a top 10 player to be that final piece to winning a championship in New York, which is a big deal. We know superstars love that idea. That scenario, though, would have to be in a trade because New York doesn't have enough cap space in free agency. All their money would be tied to Donovan Mitchell, RJ Barrett with his extension, Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, and Mitchell Robinson. But they would have expiring contracts. So how can the Knicks trade for Donovan Mitchell now while leaving enough assets to make another trade later? By stockpiling draft picks, which they've been doing. Remember, they got those draft picks from Dallas in the Kristaps Porzingis trade. Last draft, they traded the number 11 pick for 3 future firsts. Now New York has 4 of their own picks. 2 swaps, 4 protected from other teams. Young players, Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickley, Obi Toppin, RJ Barrett, and veteran salaries, Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose, and Cam Reddish. You would think the Jazz want RJ Barrett, but they actually want Quentin Grimes. He is a better 3 and D player than RJ Barrett. He just made the All-Summer League team. Grimes is also on a cheap contract, while Barrett could be wanting a max contract. So, the perfect trade is the Jazz getting RJ, Obi, and Derrick Rose plus 5 first-round picks. That is 5 picks, including unprotected picks from New York and 2 protected from other teams. Look, RJ and Obi are talented, but both are up for extensions, which is not really what Utah wants. It sounds like a lot, but it's actually a good deal for the Knicks. Tom Thibodeau says he prefers to trade RJ and keep Grimes. And that says a lot about RJ's potential. Okay, this is all great for the Knicks, but the one team that could swoop in and ruin their party is the Toronto Raptors. If Masai Ujiri is serious about getting Donovan Mitchell, Toronto could put together a way better deal. Their all-in offer is OG Anunoby, Gary Trent Jr., and 4 unprotected firsts, which blows the Knicks deal out of the water. That would force New York to go all in with their offer and trade RJ Barrett and Quentin Grimes, which I don't think they would do. Look, the Raptors were all in on Kevin Durant, and they wouldn't have to give up Scotty Barnes here to get Spida Mitchell. But unless we hear a lot more smoke about Toronto wanting Donovan Mitchell, I don't think the Knicks have a lot of competition, despite what the Jazz want us all to think. So it's only a matter of time before Donovan Mitchell goes back home to New York, where the Knicks would then be a lot more competitive against the other team in New York, the Brooklyn Nets. I cannot wait to see what the Nets actually look like on the court with Kevin Durant agreeing to come back, plus Kyrie, Ben Simmons. It's gonna be so dysfunctional, but I cannot wait to see it. But I'm not hearing enough people talk about the real reason nobody actually wanted Kevin Durant that bad, so I made a whole video about it. Check it out.